Hi.
Hi.
All right, and this is the part that we're going to try to cut out.
We always cut this part out.
Because it's always awkward, and I say unlike like 10 times. And
unlike? Like you say like a lot?
What are we talking about?
This is Season 3 of the K-12 Engineering Education Podcast.
It's your hosts, Pius Wong and Rachel Farrig, recapping South by Southwest EDU 2018 in Austin, Texas. If you missed it, hear about different sessions that you missed, the opinions of people who watched panels, and overall impressions about what happened here and what's going to happen in the future.
All right. Hi, Pius.
Hi, Rachel.
How are you?
I'm good, except that I've got a little bit of a headache.
Yeah, you said.
Yeah, I was up trying to create more episodes of this podcast.
Yay.
And do more other stuff. Oddly enough, we're recording during spring break, so I should have a little bit more time, but...
Well, but it depends. Not everybody has spring break.
Yeah.
I don't have spring break.
You're still doing your job.
I'm working.
I'm working too.
Yeah.
So, well, happy spring break to those of you who get... this isn't even going to come out during spring break, so maybe I shouldn't...
But it gives them context.
Context is good, as we've learned.
Especially since, so what happens in Austin during spring break?
South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Among other things. Some people leave. They specifically
True.
avoid... I spoke with one of our teachers that we used to work with, and I asked her, because I ran into her, I was like, oh, what are your plans for South by? Are you going to come by? Because I was trying to push people to come to our session, which we spoke about last time. And she's like, no, me and my husband, we go out every year because they do not like the crowds. In fact, right now is South by proper.
Yes. Big South by, we call it.
Yeah, Big South by. There's ridiculous amounts of people around downtown.
Yes.
But traffic is low elsewhere, I found out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My commute coming in, so easy. It takes me like maybe 25 minutes to get to work, whereas it normally takes me somewhere between 45 and 75 minutes.
Right. That's the thing that always bothered me about the long commutes. When I used to travel from South Austin all the way up north, it's like completely unpredictable.
Yes.
The window of variability is just too much.
But then there is that, so going back to South by though, there's that Scandinavian airline that created nonstop flights just to come to South by.
Really?
Did you read about that?
I did not hear that.
Oh, I encourage you to go look that up. It's pretty fantastic.
Is it only during this session or these 2 weeks?
Only Big South by. Nonstop flights just to come to Austin just for South by.
I missed an event just yesterday where there was a Scandinavian video gaming company that wanted to do like a meetup and tell all these local developers what they're doing. And I really wanted to go to that. And they were going to have free Scandinavian food. I don't know.
Ooh, Swedish meatballs?
I'm imagining IKEA food, but that's how little I know. What is a lingonberry?
Well, it's sort of like a gooseberry. But it's red, and it's sweet, and it's yummy.
That's too exotic for me. I don't know what that is. I want to try it, but...
Yeah, it's good.
But I wanted to see what their video games were all about, because I don't know what Scandinavian video games are.
I don't know what Scandinavian video games are either.
Are they different from other video games? Yeah.
I don't know. Are they kinder?
And taller? And I don't know.
Taller. Yes.
Well,
we need to find out.
They probably have national health care in their video games.
I bet they do.
We'll learn from them. So, unfortunately, neither of us are going to Big South by, not the official events
not this year.
Because we were all spent at EDU.
Yeah, we upped our EDU game from the previous year.
Man, we did a lot of
We went
EDU
from the
stuff.
Playground to conducting a workshop and a meetup. And so I feel that that is a step up. We gave ourselves a promotion at EDU.
Totally.
And so we focused on that.
And we still met people.
Yeah. And we apparently did a pretty good job based on the feedback we have so far.
Yeah, I remember me patting myself on the back the whole time. No, we've gotten good feedback.
Yes.
And I sent out some follow-up emails.
I saw those. I haven't read them yet, but I did see them in my inbox.
I will say that podcasters are really into podcasting.
Oh, for sure they are.
They have
super
definitely
passionate.
responded. Yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing stuff like this, like earning headaches to try to get podcast episodes out.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah. Well, I think South by went well. We talked about our sessions. And Rachel, I just wanted to talk with you about our general impressions outside of our sessions. Like, what did you think about what you had seen, the people you had seen, the things you had
I feel
felt?
like I saw more classroom teachers at EDU this year than I have in previous years. I think previously we'd seen a lot of education innovators or ed tech specialists. I did see, I saw classroom teachers whom I personally know, but then in hearing other people talk about it, there were plenty of classroom teachers in other sessions. And so that shift in audience, I think, means to me, my takeaway is that at South by EDU has grown so much that it's finding a more localized impact, I guess. It isn't so lofty as it used to be. It's full of information that you can take away, hit the ground running, and actually use it with young people.
So it's not just theory.
It's not theory, and it's not necessarily that startup feel. It's still got that, but it isn't targeted just toward corporate people who are trying to innovate education. It's now really becoming even more inclusive.
That's interesting.
But I could be wrong. I don't know.
No. It's hard for me to judge because I didn't see as many sessions as I wanted to.
Sure.
But talking to other people who were floating around, talking to other teachers and other educational leaders, they said other things. Like the popular sessions seemed to be the instructional sessions, like things about actual pedagogy or teaching methods.
Yeah.
And not just that, but also equity in education is also a theme this year.
Social and emotional learning and equity in education were huge this year.
Right. So it was all stuff you could literally bring back to the classroom.
Yes.
And I thought that was really interesting. So I didn't speak to ed tech people really this year, not as much as last year.
Yeah.
And I think there was actually a little bit of pushback against ed tech, and I would say rightfully so. So my brother also was in town, as you saw.
Yes.
And he went to...
Thank you, Linus, for helping.
Yeah, he's an ed tech person, sort of. Well, he's not actually in the industry. He is a software developer, and he wants to explore more of that.
Yeah.
And he was there going to a bunch of different sessions, and I spoke to other people confirming this too. But as an example, he said that one of the best sessions he went to, because there were some bad ones, but one of the best sessions was a session with like an educational leader from KIPP, the charter school organization, and some ed tech leaders, and kind of just having a discussion about where ed tech is and what people want from educational technology and how, it's great that we have a lot of technology, but that's not good enough. We need actual data on which educational technologies work.
Yes. How are they impacting student learning? How are they making teachers better teachers?
Which we don't have. We don't have
that information.
And part of it is, as many people know, educational data is hard to come by.
It's also proprietary.
Actually, that came up because like one of the discussions was at the end, some people want to know, well, all these different companies, they're collecting data, which has value. And companies, oftentimes they're for-profit, but some nonprofits too, they want to protect their value-making products, their data.
It's sort of their intellectual property.
Yeah, so why would they share it?
Right.
Why would ETS, for example, want to share all their research with a competitor company that like Pearson or something?
Testing.
Right. Yeah. For example, but they're the ones collecting all this data, or other educational technologies, like if you have toys that are supposed to teach computer science, or games like I'm trying to make that are supposed to teach some kind of engineering concept. They're fun, and maybe we can measure things like what students feel about these fields, but then when it comes to measuring how much they learn, I think a lot of companies might have some data about that, but they aren't sharing it unless it looks really, really, really positive. And also that's just hard to get in the first place. It takes years really to see how effective these things are. And you have to have control groups. And so the point was that there was actual out loud pushback that like people were saying, hey, we need data, real data on which educational technology works, and not just throw all this money to corporate interests without any kind of accountability.
Exactly.
I thought it was interesting.
I do too, especially looking at it from an educational perspective. It seems like every year there's a new program, a new software, a new tablet, a new something. And you need to train teachers on how to implement it in their classrooms. You need to train students on how to use it There are always acceptable use policies. So you have all this training and development to use these games and these apps or whatever. For what? What is the outcome? What are we getting from this?
Yeah.
And nobody really has those answers.
Or maybe
sometimes.
they do, but they're not sharing
They're not sharing them.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, we used to work together to try to develop a curriculum. It wasn't a single technological product, but
Right.
it was still a product.
Yes.
And we, we can talk about it now, but like as part of the university, we wanted research just like any university does about our product.
About it.
And we got it, but it took like years
Yeah.
to publish that. And I don't know if companies have access to it. I think they know. I mean, they have access to PhDs.
I mean, they must, yeah.
Yeah, and so these are the questions that I did speak to EdTech people before about some of these things, but it really went to the forefront amongst a lot of people at South by, so I like that. Also, before I forget, I think that question also was applied to not just EdTech people, but educational institutions like charter schools.
Yep, higher ed, charter schools.
Yeah, I think in that conversation that I was mentioning with Kip and the other people, they were kind of throwing that question to them as well.
Like what is the value that you're bringing or adding? Or
Yeah, there's that
how
criticism.
Are you doing it differently? Okay,
Exactly.
Interesting.
Because there is some aggregate data, and I think that's what if you search for it, you can find it. There's aggregate data about different charter school networks saying, okay, on average, across all these, 100 schools, maybe we see higher performance in some states or something. But then when you get down to the granular data, some of that data isn't public.
As favorable or isn't publicly
maybe.
released.
We don't know.
Or,
Okay. So when there's not as much transparency, just like with the EdTech people, like obviously teachers who were prevalent here, as we noticed, they're going to criticize. We want to know, hey, what are the details?
Yeah.
And I think this idea of data is really interesting, and I hope it carries through to next year.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Did you see any of the expo or any of these other things that were happening?
I did not make it down there. So last year, I was able to spend more time at South by EDU and at South by proper, or Big South by. This year, I've taken on more responsibilities at work, so I ended up, I only went to South by EDU for part of the day on the days that we were presenting.
Yeah.
So I went to work, and then I went downtown, and I did some stuff, and I presented, and I said some things, and then I went back to work. So I really didn't get to see as much as I would have liked. I stopped in the PBS Teachers Lounge, which was super fun, and it was really uplifting. It was
Describe it.
An enjoyable space. So there was a wall, and they had Post-its that were fill in the blank, sort of Mad Lib style, and it was thank you, comma, name a person for
fill in the blank.
Filling the blank ing verb to be an adjective noun. And so you could thank a teacher or someone that you knew for promoting you or inspiring you or somethinging you to be a better person, a taller teacher.
Inspiring you to be Scandinavian.
And so it was really impactful. It was really powerful to see all of those notes. Yeah. And there were so many that I found out that they were replacing them as each day went. They didn't have enough room. So as new ones would go up, they would have to pull old ones down.
I wonder what they did with that.
I don't know. I would love to. I don't know.
I remember being at an improv show once here in Austin, and apparently people wrote all these secrets on little Post-it notes or pieces of paper, and at the end they burned them all.
Oh,
and I wonder if like PBS is having some kind of ritual at the end to like, all right,
I would
these are our wishes.
imagine, knowing PBS, they probably archived them somewhere.
I guess. I
don't know.
They had happy hour there. They had like free retro T-shirts to give away if you took a little
Daniel
video
Tiger
with them.
made an appearance, but I missed him.
Oh, but I took a picture with Arthur the Aardvark.
I did see that.
You saw it? I really liked that photo, or I appreciate Arthur, and so I liked that little bit. So PBS, I feel like they know how to show love to their teachers and educators.
They do.
Yeah.
And they just know how to engage people.
I was talking to someone else. They're apparently always at Big South by too, every year.
Oh.
And PBS throws the biggest parties, which
I
would
did not know that.
I know. So next,
look at you,
tip
PBS.
for future South bys, I'm going to look for the PBS booth.
Go become a member. Join your member station.
actually
That's my plug
like PBS
because apparently they're doing some good stuff.
They were also kind of promoting some of their new educational apps for kids.
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to test some of them, but I know that they've got a lot of educational specialists working on that, so that's kind of cool. Speaking of ed tech,
they do a lot of field research. So my son is 8, and we're on the list for our local PBS station to be able to go test games and apps.
Really? Oh, I didn't know they do that.
We've previewed some shows
Are you
before
under,
they were
like,
released.
non-disclosure agreements?
I don't know if there is or not, but I really enjoy being able to do that kind of stuff with my kid and teach him how to be, to look at things with a critical eye, but also to kind of be enthusiastic about things and be an early adopter and be a go-getter and
to be a lead user.
Yes. Ooh.
Speaking of,
way to cycle in that academic vocab.
We I don't know if we spoke about it, but we'll save that for another day.
No, I think we did our
mini.
The one that we did
last episode. We might have talked about it for a little bit, but no, that's true. He's a lead user on that.
He is the lead user.
He's testing it with all the bugs and everything.
Yep, he sure is.
PBS is my competitor now. You know that?
No.
Well, it's because I'm going to create my own educational apps. In theory, I keep saying that.
Well, they have teams of people.
Yeah, I can't compete with teams of teachers. So I saw a couple more cool things, I heard about a couple more cool things that happened at South by. One was that Stanford Design School, had an escape room in a little truck on the outside.
That.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you know what it is?
Yes. I've done an escape room, just not that specific one.
Okay, and so an escape room, people know that it's like you go in there with your team.
And you have to solve problems and
puzzles and
logic
work
things
together.
And yeah.
So Stanford Design School was there, and they set up an escape room, but a portable one inside a little truck, and they were parked right around the Austin Convention Center. And the way it worked was they were having fun, but they also wanted to create something that could be used to measure or quantify how collaborative a group of people is.
Wow.
So the theory is you could take your colleagues, your little team, your science team, go to this portable escape room and
solve your way through it.
They'll give you the rundown. Yeah, solve your way through it, and there's someone watching you.
Oh, wow.
They tell you beforehand what the deal is, and they tell you, hey, you're going to be scored on how fast you solve these puzzles and how fast you get out. And there's a rubric for how well they grade you on your collaborative. So
like communication or...
Sure. Well, like specific things. So for example, one puzzle inside there was like a maze or something, and you needed 2 people to solve it. On one side, you could see the maze, and on the other side, you controlled a magnet that moved.
Oh, so you had to be able to say, like, move the thing up 2 inches, and now turn right for 1.5 inches or something.
Exactly. And so the person monitoring would be looking at that and probably noting down, like, how many times you actually communicated.
Wow.
Or if people just gave...
Or how many mistakes were made.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of little puzzles like that.
Huh.
And at the end of it, they gave you a score. They gave you a grade on how well you work as a team.
That's awesome.
And it's meant to be some kind of PD, a professional development it could be for teachers. They were aiming for both teachers and corporate clients. They're designing this escape room, but it sounded really fun. And the people who I spoke to who went through it really enjoyed it. And so I want to do it one day, but I didn't get a chance to do it myself. I'll have to check it out.
Awesome.
It made me think of the idea that students, especially in engineering, they should design an escape room. It's like a modern Rube Goldberg.
Yeah.
Like, except the purpose is just to play a game, and you can get like your other students to run through your escape room.
Sure, but I think that you can incorporate a lot of other curriculum and standards in there.
Oh, yeah. Like you can have history puzzles or
art.
Very collaborative.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of doing that.
Really neat.
And out of all the other little things that I saw there, I mean, there was also Unity. Unity is a platform for making games on the computer, video games, and they were there. They were introducing their educational platform. I should have known about this, but they basically let you program 3D games more easily.
Oh, wow.
And they used to be the only educational, the only 3D video game platform that had an educational
focus
component, a bunch of tutorials and a curriculum that goes with it, like teaching people how to use their video game design system.
Okay.
And that was for a couple of years. And now another competitor video game
has finally entered the field.
Just entered the field. Unreal. And so for the computer science and art people who want to teach how to create games, that was interesting to me.
You know, one thing that I did see this year that has been, I think, missing for some time. So South by EDU tends to focus a lot on STEM because that's really where the future is, right? We have to know science, technology, engineering, and math in order to make so many other things happen.
I would agree.
But this year, the arts were coming back. There were more STEAM components and STEAM-focused things than I have seen in a long time. And that really made me happy. I think that you can't leave those out. There is a wide body of research that does show students who engage in music or fine arts education, just like students who speak dual or multi-languages, just perform better and learn faster and learn more and have usually higher levels of self-efficacy than students who do not receive that sort of arts focus or arts supplement, whatever you want to call it. So
I've heard that sometimes music can help you learn math, and depending on the context or the teacher, speaking of context, it can help you learn science or English. And I think
about, so when I taught physics, there are a number of different ways to teach waves and resonance and things like that. But that's what music is. And seeing guitar strings vibrate or, watching the head of a drum vibrating. There's so many
application of these. And research has shown that you retain things more. People learn more when you tie what you learn to your real life or to something you can see or understand or hear in this case.
Why does a trombone, why do we slide it out and slide it in? Because we're shortening or lengthening the path of the air because that's what makes the sound different.
I was going to say, because it's funny. That's like, of all the musical instruments, I think the trombone is one of the funniest ones. That and the accordion. I attach humor to certain instruments. What you said reminded me of something that came up during our session about designing lessons. There was this moment where Amar, our co-presenter, and I, he was demonstrating a game called just the
He was
the detail
doing books.
Game. Oh, no. I'm thinking about he was doing the detail game. Or Yes, I Know.
Yes, I know.
Where you start out saying something. In fact, he started out saying a Texas educational knowledge and
think he
standard.
did, yes.
He started by saying an educational standard for Texas. And it was a standard from math, Algebra 1, students must learn linear equations and how to solve them.
Right.
And Amar is not a math teacher. And it was really interesting that he had to be inspired by this standard.
One or two words in the standard.
And he focused on the word linear, I think.
Yep.
And he started going off on how music feels linear because he's a musician and he's just starting to say stuff and music is really linear and I wish I could bring back my trombone or something.
Yes.
And I had to be inspired by that.
Yep.
And trombones were where my grandmother played. I don't know.
I forget the story you guys told.
After we played that improv game, rightly so, someone asked, or maybe Amar brought up the question of how does that relate to designing lessons? And especially for him, he's not a math teacher, so he didn't really know what was going on. But it was cool because his random words, his random ideas about trombones and music made me think of some lessons that I could use in my math class that I'm actually teaching right now.
Yes.
It was about like, he made me think, we always talk about making math visual, with graphs, with geometry, but I'm like, how can we make math also more audible?
Or tactile even.
Tactile, right. These different sensory things where like, we could play instruments. We could have a tone that rises linearly.
What happens if you...
Parabolically.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. I think of the radioactive decay chart.
Sure.
So what happens if you do something similar, for example, with a slide trombone? Or
like you can measure the distance.
Or a piccolo. Or,
right, you move your trombone at a linear rate versus
air column at halfway, at a quarter way, at an eighth.
Right.
What happens?
I was talking to my brother actually about it. And like, because I play the piano, I like that. It's both tactile and visual and audible.
Yes.
And you can measure the number of keys that you are walking along from the lowest to the highest 88th key. And in physics class or whatever class, you can just put a linear rate of pressing those keys, and then you could change that to an exponentially increasing one or something. And like, I love that.
Or if you have an old piano and can take the back off, and your kids can see the shape of the strings. Yeah. It's not a straight line.
You're right. They can learn about frequency and all these other things. Yeah. So all in all, it just reminds me like, all these interconnected ideas is where we need to go. And I'm happy you brought up that STEAM connection. Pius here, taking a few seconds in this break to say thank you to the supporters of this show who helped us get into South by Southwest EDU this year and who also financially support this podcast, making it all possible. We really appreciate it, and thanks. Now that we've talked about the things that were cool, I have to mention some of the things were not so cool.
Oh.
Well, just a little bit. So one of the criticisms that I've heard, South by can be a grab bag. Like you go to sessions and a lot of times they're disappointing. That's what I hear, like from countless teachers. Like you go in and you're disappointed and like, this is a waste. So you just go to another session.
The one I heard about was a panel, and apparently the moderator just was. The way it was explained to me was that the moderator was not, she was too polite to cut off a particular speaker who just kind of went on and on and on. And so the other panelists really did not get equal talk time. And so that really devalued the whole purpose and the intent of the panel. So I did hear about one of those.
Because you have to rely on a good moderator.
Yeah, the facilitator has to be able to say, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Let's move on to whomever. You have to be able to kind of politely step in and have someone stop talking.
Right. I will say something that has gotten better is the South by is really trying to prevent the sales pitches at these things, which I appreciate. So it's not just people being like, buy our testing program or go buy our curriculum.
Like a glorified trade show, essentially. Right. Well, like you sign up for a session and, no, it's really trying to get you to buy something.
Right. Which I don't like that at other conferences. And I'm glad that South by is trying to be more transparent with it. I don't mind being sold to as long as
But keep it in the expo, right?
The expo, yeah. And there was also an innovation hub, quote unquote, where that was more corporate people who were there the entire days. And I think they're targeting a different clientele, probably the principals and superintendents.
Probably.
So the other thing about South by was that I do think that despite the sometimes lackluster presentations, there's still always some amazing ones.
Yeah.
And I feel like people remember those. They're willing to overlook some of the crappy talks because they can always just leave, go to another one. And plus there's all that networking you do at night, which people appreciate as well. Betsy DeVos was apparently talking at South by EDU.
She was there during our first session.
Yeah. Oh, right. We were competitors with her. I heard that she got a tepid response.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Yeah, people weren't that enthusiastic about the stuff that she was saying.
Well, I think that she didn't bring any new content.
Right. She said things
that she has said before.
She's pro charter schools, pro private organizations, educational technology. She wants to get more technology in general around. But for the most part, teachers, at least at South by, not too enthusiastic about it.
I think that they had some. It was my understanding that there were critical questions that she really couldn't address. She didn't have enough information or was not prepared to answer those questions.
Right. Either choosing not to or just not prepared.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's going to be in the news some more, like between the time that we're recording now and by the time we release this episode, because now she's talking about gun violence in schools. Not exactly a K-12 engineering topic, but definitely an education topic.
Yeah.
And I'll be interested to hear where that goes in the future. So it's always interesting to me how South by tries to bring in politics. Last year, it was for sure there. It's here too in the form of those equity in education talks.
Yes.
As well as in inviting, our education secretary. And I think they're going to continue to do that too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
What do you want to do in future South bys?
Well, so I was thinking about this. The first year that you and I did South by together, we did EDU at the playground, and then we did Big South by. And then this year, we didn't do Big South by, but we got, like I said, we promoted ourselves. Yeah, we doubled up on
Plus,
EDU.
I had to
so we stepped up our game.
Poke around and be press. And
Yeah. You had a book signing.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Oh,
that was cool. I spoke to a guy who I went to college with actually, and he's an educational consultant too. Like,
nice.
Teaching design thinking. Design thinking was a big trend.
Yeah, that was big this year.
Brought that up.
Yeah, but so I think for next year, we kind of started at a 3. And this year we went to maybe 4.7.
We're going to go to
6.
6. We're going to go to 6.
We're going to go straight 6 or maybe 6.1.
Is this out of 10 or out of 6?
I don't know. Maybe out of 12.
The numbers just mean whatever we want.
Yeah, we're just stepping up our game little by little. I think next year we should try for 2 EDU presentations and a Big South by.
I think so. And we can. I mean, in theory, if I get, my
some
stuff in gear, my beep in gear, then I can create some tools or do some research that might actually be useful.
Yeah.
And I am working on stuff that's relevant to them.
Sure.
Not just digital games, but I'm interested in VR, virtual reality. When I say I'm interested, by the way, it means that I'm super skeptical of virtual reality in education because I think it's really expensive and not good enough yet.
Yeah.
But I would like to play around in that space just to explore it.
And I don't know. So we talked about this a little bit in our first session, Designing Better Lessons, that in order to teach empathy or to do a lead user analysis, that you could could use VR.
You could.
But I don't.
Can I explain?
Yeah.
So we were talking about empathic lead user analysis, just trying to give designers a better feel of what it's like to be in the experience of their customers. So what if, to use an engineering example, what if, you're an elderly rock climber or something? Maybe we don't want to put you as the designer at risk by climbing rocks or something. And you're designing a rock climber, some gear or something. You could be a rock climber and experience what it's like to be a rock climber. But to be an elderly rock climber, we might have to put, 100-pound weights on you or something.
Right, so that it emulates really that stiffness.
Something. Yeah, something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's risky, and I don't think that's ethical to
right.
do that. So what if instead you were in the virtual place of an elderly rock climber, like someone who is already kind of experienced, they have a VR camera and they're doing it on their own. They would be rock climbing anyway, and you're just coming along for the ride.
Yeah.
Maybe you can sort of experience that. But so where we were thinking about it, we were talking about how people design lessons. So we simulated people with vision loss by covering their eyes with a sleep mask. Well, what if we wanted to simulate what it's like to be the lead user of the only girl in a classroom full of boys in your computer science class? What if? Well, I can't put on an eye mask to simulate that.
Right.
But we could get an actual, female student who's in a computer science class somewhere where there's not a lot of women. And unfortunately today there's a lot of cases of that. Maybe she's wearing a VR camera, a small one or something. Maybe everyone's aware of what's going on. I know that this poses a lot of ethical and privacy issues.
Because people are going to say, well, you're leaving out, the years of experience of hearing, boys are good at this and girls should, or whatever. Right. So, yeah.
So that's the thing. VR can maybe simulate certain parts of being a certain user, a certain person. But I want to repeat, I don't want to trivialize that. Yeah, just like putting on a sleep mask is not going to make us really know what it's like to have some vision loss or be blind.
To be visually impaired or blind. Exactly.
And so it is a very tricky thing to design a proper empathic lead user analysis where you aren't trivializing things, but you are still trying to give your designers an authentic experience, like get them closer to what they understood before. And I think VR could do that. So that's something to think about.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of other ideas.
And I think that we're happy to take ideas from other people, not take ideas from other people.
Ideas,
Give us your ideas.
Hey, I'm not going to do all of them, but other people should take these ideas. No, but I mean,
if you have things that you want us to look into for a South by presentation for next year, I think that would be okay.
Yeah, or panel or workshop,
a panel discussion,
or meetup. I mean, I have lots of ideas.
Yeah.
Like basically one question that I wanted to know was, what do the testing companies and other researchers know about better evaluation of portfolios? Because for engineering education, that is critical.
Sure.
And
even standardized testing doesn't cut it for what have you been designing.
No, and I was talking with people who work at Google and Facebook and these computer science places at least for those CS organizations, they definitely look at more than just grades now. They want to see your portfolio.
They want to see your body of work. Design.
Exactly. And for the engineering classes in general, we know that the University of Texas and other universities, they want to offer dual college credit, and they do that by evaluating high school students' design portfolios. Now, how does a company like ETS or Pearson or any of these other places, how do they design efficient tests to evaluate someone's design skills? I don't know. And maybe they don't have an answer to that.
Sure.
And I would like them to have an answer to that, because obviously I'm not researching that, but there's data out there that could be really useful. And my other question is, do design skills, do the grades that people get on these design portfolios, do they correlate with the grades they might get on a standardized test like the SAT or the GED or anything?
So you ace the ACT or the SAT, but you aren't turning in design.
Or you don't know how to deal with people. Like, I'm not talking with the priests here that I grew up with. Like,
I was just gonna use kinder words.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm not you personally, Rachel. I guess I'm getting worked up. But like, I knew that
clearly a point of passion for you.
I'm talking about myself though. Like my designs when I first started out, they were bad, and
but isn't that? I mean,
you're right. Everyone goes through that.
A first-year teacher, usually 5 or 10 years down the road, looks back and says, "Dear students in my classes, the first year I was teaching, I am sorry."
Which is usually why they have student teaching. Like
well,
you
but
get a
even
couple.
Then,
it's not. You're right. It's not the best.
No.
And even as an engineer, we try to give ourselves and our students more design experiences and internships and all of the hands-on experiences we can get.
Yeah.
And it's funny that bosses will evaluate the design skills and teamwork skills of their engineering workers, but
how does
teachers
that trickle down to the college
should know how
level?
To do that too.
Right? Yeah, professors should know. It's a pipeline. We talk about in education. We talk about vertical alignment, so that the kindergarten teachers are prepping kids for first grade preps for second, so on and so forth, so that you don't have those gaps, so that by the time a student is, an upperclassman, they've been well prepared the whole entire time. And when you don't prep someone adequately, that's when those gaps in learning and achievement start. And they're harder to overcome as time goes on. And so really, and I've heard other people say this, the industry professionals should have a say-so all the way down to the pre-K level. This is what we need people to know and do as soon as they walk in the door. So how do you prep them for that going backwards?
And I would love to be part of that discussion, because there's two things that makes me think of. If we save this for next year, like one of those discussions is those industry professionals have to be more involved.
Yeah.
And are they? That's one criticism of mine.
Sure.
And then the second thing is some people say they're too involved, like in the sense that if we're only going to be teaching what corporations want, for example, then are we going to learn philosophy? Are we going to learn ethics? I think we will, because I think we're getting to the point where businesses, despite trying to make money, I mean, they still want
I think
ethical
we're seeing
people.
A shift.
Yeah, it's different from 100 years ago a little bit. We don't have child labor as much, for example. To use an extreme case. But like, those are two intertwined issues.
Yeah.
Like, how do we get the right amount of
Go ahead.
influence, participation, or of
what is that balance?
Companies?
You don't want CEOs saying this is what you need to teach, but at the same time, how do you prep kids to be able to walk into that? And that's really what, when we talk about, and this is in air quotes, college and career readiness, essentially that's what we're talking about. But who are the players in that discussion?
Yeah.
And I think that maybe we have a panel next year.
And there should be like some government leaders maybe, or the education board leaders.
Especially for states like Texas, where the educational standards are legislated. They're written into law.
People to the table, including corporations and teachers. So that would be really interesting. And that would be part of the discussion.
Sure.
I think that when money-making businesses or nonprofit, when other non-educational institution interests are part of the discussion, I think that it can be a very good thing. It could also be very bad. Like it's not inherently bad.
No.
But I'd like to see descriptions of examples of it working and not working, so we can see the patterns. Because there are sometimes it's just parents who are deciding what kids are learning. And I actually think that goes wrong sometimes if there are parents who decide not to teach like science or not to teach physics.
So I think about homeschooling. Some children who come out of homeschooled environments go on to college and are highly successful. Some students who come out of homeschooling environments are not prepared for secondary or post-secondary education.
So it's the question of like, what are the patterns? And there was a session at this last South by EDU, which was raising a question that people have been asking for a while. How do you prepare kids for jobs that don't exist yet?
We don't know what's coming, so how do we get them prepared?
Right, and their argument was, design thinking, collaboration.
21st century skills.
These skills that, yes, exactly. Those. So I think that there are like those 21st century skills that came out of corporate collaborations, right?
Probably.
Like there was some input on what people need.
Yeah.
Still, even if coal mining goes away, for example, I don't know, but like.
But you still need to be able to solve problems.
Right. And
you need to be able to analyze text and make decisions.
Right.
You need to be able to work as a team.
To speak,
these
to read.
are common foundations for any level of success.
Right. I would like to be part of these discussions.
Yeah.
What else for next year? Is that it? We have plenty to.
I don't know. You need to. Yep. Let's do a book signing, brainstorming. Let's have a panel.
Something improv related. Man, a panel. That's hard work. Okay, we got to think about that.
Yeah, the panel is hard work, but it could be worth it.
Like I'm inherently,
I definitely want a workshop.
A trainer or a teacher, so I would like to do a workshop.
Well, and I think we get good feedback that way.
The meetup was really good too. Like I don't know what's
the meetup went far better than I thought.
That's because, Rachel, you were, before this,
I was
very
terrified.
Right?
No, I was just terrified.
Because it's something that we don't normally do.
Yeah. And I don't, networking is a skill and it takes work and it takes effort. And I haven't done it in a long time. That's not to say I don't need to step up my game, because of course I do. But doing your own networking is very different than facilitating other people's networking. And I feel as though you almost need to be better at it to help facilitate it than to just do it for your own self.
I disagree with that.
Oh, I was just scared to death, but it turned out
it was really good.
There were some really amazing discussions. They were podcasting in our session, live podcasting from a podcasting cards. Oh, it was great.
I learned something. I mean, shout out to Trinity Baker. Like, he introduced me to the consortium of YouTube educators called We Create EDU. And so if you are a teacher, YouTuber, or a teacher who creates some kind of digital media, you might look up We Create EDU, because they get together all the time. They communicate on Slack and collaborate on things. I have just joined, thanks to Trinity. Because even though I don't do a bunch of YouTube videos now, I would like to do that in the future to demonstrate like improv games for engineers and design techniques. But also my podcast is digital media, so maybe we can collaborate in that way. And I'll see if I can get them to get on the podcast. I don't know. Like, these are the things that can come out of a meetup. And I'm thinking, okay, podcasting is a trend right now. Maybe we could have another meetup next year. I would know better how to handle it this time.
Yeah, I think it would just be better next year.
Yeah, it would totally be better.
But it wasn't bad this year. So, I mean, it would just be even better.
I liked it a lot because I'm getting emails about it. I don't get emails about the designing lessons right now. And I'm thinking, who would I love to see all in one room talking? Is it like just engineers? Is it just parents? Podcasters today, because maybe it's just video game designers, indie gamers.
I don't know.
Anyway, we'll think about it.
Yeah, but I'm excited about it.
Cool. I'm glad you.
We're gonna make this happen. 2 EDUs and a big South by.
All right.
All right.
Do it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Rachel, for joining me.
Thank you, Pius, for having me.
As always,
yes.
Tune in against. I can't even talk.
Tune in again
next time.
Thank you, audience.
Yeah, we'll see you in Austin.
All right, bye.
This has been Rachel and Pius. For links and information on some of the things you heard us talk about today, check out the show notes for this episode or find it at the podcast website, k12engineering.net. Remember to subscribe to the podcast to stay up to date on engineering education discussions. Find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, PRX, the Public Radio Exchange, or any other podcast platform. Leave me some comments and reviews too. It'll help others find the show. Tweet the show at K12Engineering, or tweet Rachel at rferrig, or tweet me at Pius Wong. Get more show notes and eventually more transcripts at the podcast website, k12engineering.net. Our closing music is from the song Yes And by Steve Combs, used under a Creative Commons Attribution License. The K-12 Engineering Education Podcast is a production of my independent studio, Pios Labs. Support Pios Labs with regular contributions by going online to patreon.com/Pios Labs. You can also just buy me a coffee. Links on how to do that are on the podcast website, k12engineering.net, and in the show notes. Thank you all for listening, and please join us next time.